I'm going to tell you guys a story I've been meaning to talk about on this channel since I decided to do commentary. I'm going to open up and tell you guys about the time how I became a porn addict at the age of 13 and how it's been affecting me over the last 10 years of my life. I'm 23 now. I'll be 24 in July, so I've had some experience. I remember this particular day like it was yesterday. I was on the bus heading home from school, and there was a group of kids that were in a grade or two higher than me. One of the guys was fooling around and took one of the girls' phone, and when she asked for it back, he jokingly said, "I'm watching porn," and he proceeded to get his head smacked in. And you know, me being the naive 13-year-old, I asked him what was porn. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember I told him that I was gonna go home and look it up, and he jokingly said not to. And little did I know that one single Google search would jumpstart a 10-year addiction. I remember sitting there on my phone watching for the first time, and the next thing I knew, 2 to 3 hours had gone by. And ever since that day, pornography has been a part of my life. There were multiple instances where I would stay up late night and just consume it, especially if it was a school night. I would go to bed at 8:30 and I would watch it all night, and I would proceed to watch my alarm go off, or I get very little sleep and then I go to school the next day all tired, and then I repeat that sometimes the following night or 2 or 3 nights later. One of the things that has affected me mentally because of the pornography addiction was my subconsciousness towards myself and my body. You know, I felt like if I wasn't lasting for hours, or my package wasn't a certain size compared to like all the male porn stars I was watching, I thought there was something wrong with me. And as I grew older and as time moved on, I realized that a lot of that stuff I was watching was just smoke and mirrors. Unfortunately, that damage has already been done to me mentally. I still deal with this battle to this day. It's not as bad as it was when I was younger. I wouldn't be lying to you if I didn't think about it, especially when it came to like how I perform in sex and whether or not I was performing good enough for my partner and all that. There was a point a few years ago where I actually did quit watching porn. It felt good. I did it for about 500 days or so. You know, I started going to the gym, I was working on myself, and unfortunately at some point during this, I broke that streak and I slipped right back into that cycle again. When my ex broke up with me recently, a few months ago, I noticed a very drastic increase in my consumption of it. You know, it felt like every day I was just straight up just watching it and watching it. I was just so heartbroken and hurt by the events of my relationship coming to an end, and I was just trying so hard to just distract myself because I didn't want to sit through the pain. The only way I knew how to numb it was just to watch pornography. As long as I was just fully constantly in a dopamine cycle, as long as I was just, even if it distracted me for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right, I didn't care. I just didn't want to sit through all of it. It was until I finally sat down with myself and I had to do a lot of self-reflecting to realize that I had and still have some unresolved issues and trauma going on in my life, and pornography was one of the things I had to acknowledge finally. I didn't want to keep holding on to this piece of me forever. I told myself going into 2026 that I wanted to leave my old self behind and I wanted to evolve as a person. Pornography has done nothing positive for me, and all it's done was lead me down dark paths of constant dopamine rush, self-consciousness, and other problems that I will not discuss in this video. I'm making this as a way to finally come to terms with myself and quit this addiction, and I wanted to share my story and hope that my story convinces people that it's not too late to quit, or if it can prevent somebody from going down the same path I did, then I think this video is worth it. People don't really assume pornography addiction is really an addiction. They don't take it as seriously as substance abuse. I definitely think with the way how current times are, especially with TikTok and OnlyFans and stuff, pornography is basically everywhere, and it's really easy for younger kids nowadays to get access to it. And if you're somebody who's younger than me in their late teens, early teens, or whatever the case is, or hell, even if you're older than me, it's never too late to quit. You know, first step of an addiction is to acknowledge that you have a problem, and I can acknowledge that I did have a problem. And going through the steps to conquer your addiction it's no strong feat. It's no easy feat. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have withdrawals. You're gonna have those urges. I still have them until this day. Every day is an act of choice. Every day is a battle. Currently going on I'm going about almost 3-4 months clean of watching pornography. I feel great. Mind feels a lot clearer. I don't have to worry about constant dopamine rush and all that. And I've been using all that energy, putting that towards something else like my content and all that. So there is a way. Only thing I can do right now is just keep going, keep pushing forward, keep fighting. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that my past never happened at all. If you watch my content, you know, I usually joke around with like the whole gooner stuff. That's my way of coping with my past, I guess you could say, because I was living that gooner lifestyle for a while. When I say I don't care if I'm get called a gooner, because I lived that lifestyle, you know, I know what I am, and I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, of course, I'm making jokes about it. Of course, moving forward, I'm trying to do better with that. I wanted to make this video just kind of my way of closing this chapter of my life and just to tell my story, you know, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are suffering with this addiction, or they are that hardcore gooner, and, you know, they're so far in deep, they feel like they can't escape out of it, and, you know, I wanted to share my story and shed some light on it. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little video of mine. This is a little bit more of a personal video, but feels good. I've been meaning to talk about this for the longest time. But yeah, man, hope you guys have a good day. My name is Yex. Be sure to follow me on my socials. I'm gonna end this video here. Hope you guys have a good day, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.